Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to NRW. I'm your host today, Rob Medina, and I thank you very much for joining me here today because today I'm reviewing the movie Rocky vs. Drago, the director's cut of Rocky 4. I was excited for this movie when it first was announced over a year ago, I believe, on Sylvester Stallone's social media account, where he had announced that he was going to be re-editing the movie, and I thought, what a fucking great opportunity, because I love Rocky 4. It's not my absolute favorite out of the Rocky films. Rocky 1 still holds that for me. I think that movie's fucking perfect to a point, but it's still damn near perfect in my opinion. And Rocky 4 was one of those movies where I remember when I saw it as a kid that was so fucking inspirational that every single time I watch the film, I always feel like I gotta get up and change my life for the better. Not that my life sucks now, but it's definitely one of those films that makes you think like, man, I can do better with myself after watching that movie. That movie is so inspirational in so many areas. I believe that the character of Rocky is so impactful in society that a lot of people look at that character and believe everything that he says because he definitely comes from an authentic spot. I had the opportunity to speak with Mike Kunda, who is considered to be the greatest Rocky impersonator in the world, and I do agree with that. When I did the show, on my show, I meant to say, You're So Cool with Rob Medina. And you can clearly see that the character of Rocky definitely made an impact on this man, where he took on a journey that most people will consider to be very, very odd. But he made a living out of that now, where now it's like, holy shit, you're the Rocky impersonator where people want to know who he is and want to hang out with him now. Well, many years ago, he was considered the oddball of the group, where people thought he was crazy, and now all those people who thought he was crazy are like, holy shit, well, I was wrong, because he stuck to his guns. But the point I'm getting at is that the character of Rocky is one of those characters that definitely is a very influential person in people's lives all around the world. So Rocky 4, and I know I went off on a tangent here, Rocky 4 was one of those movies where it definitely is the least grounded out of all the Rocky films, because all the other ones are very much grounded in reality for the most part. But this movie kind of just takes it to a whole new heights, a whole new set of levels as far as like the 80s are concerned. It's definitely a film of its time, but it still works in all those areas, because you can still see the 80s nostalgia factor behind that, but it still works effectively to this day. And that's a testament of a great directing, great acting, great writing, great editing, just perfect pacing for a film that's only 90 minutes long, because it is the shortest one of all the films. And I just thought this movie has so much going for it. So for Stallone to go back and add more character moments, to expand on those moments that was very lacking in the original cut, even though we still get a bit of that, but it was definitely lacking. I thought this is going to be a perfect balance of character moments and then the 80s, a montage that we've all come to love with this movie, at least most of us do. So I thought it was gonna be the best of both worlds. And the original press the original press release I meant to say that came out had stated that it was gonna be 40 minutes of additional scenes, and I was like, holy fuck, 40 more minutes on top of the 90-minute film. This is gonna be a damn near 3-hour Rocky film. I'm all for that. But then Stallone came out and said, oh, hold on one second, that's not true. It's actually 40 minutes of new material, but we're taking out 40 minutes of old material. And I thought, okay, so I'm sure he knows what he's going to do. I trust the man. Let's just go for that. When I saw the movie, and I saw this last week, and I was actually very conflicted if I was going to do a review for this movie, and I was not going to do it. But for some reason, I felt more compelled to actually do it as the days had gone by, because I definitely want to do a review for the Rocky series. And I thought I'm going to do a review for the Rocky series with this new movie in the review series that I plan on doing. And I thought to myself, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do a sole separate review out of the series, and this is going to be its own thing, because it's not as good as I thought it was going to be. It was actually kind of just okay. It was very underwhelming. So I decided to go and just do this review off the cuff, because for those who know, I tend to do a much more structured review. But as you can tell now, I'm just kind of going all over the place. So I will point out what I did like about the film and what I didn't, which was kind of a lot, which I'm not going to get too much into here because it's going to take way too much time. But as far as what I did like about the movie, the character moments that we do get in this film, we do get more scenes with Apollo Creed, Ivan Drago, and Adrian. Those are the three main characters that we get the most time with, that we didn't necessarily get a whole lot of in the previous cut, as far as like understanding their background, understanding their motivation, understanding the complexities behind some of the characters, especially with Ivan Drago. But even then, with that character, although he does have a lot more to say, that's not saying a whole lot too, but you get a feeling where you realize, okay, this guy isn't really happy with the way things are going right now, but he's just going through the motions. You definitely get a feel for that. but not a whole lot of it. And I don't know if there was not enough footage or if their footage were never shot to really expand on that, but with whatever new footage we did get for this movie, you get to see hints of that, but the payoff wasn't necessarily there for me to really connect with the character in that regard. I connected with Ivan Drago way more when him being more robotic, and then finding out holy shit, he can get beaten by a man who was way smaller than him, and to the point where he's going to be pretty much just like looked at as a black sheep of the country, if you will, after being defeated by this tiny American who is now being highly regarded in enemy territory. So something about that character, I connect with him in that film, but in this movie, not so much. And that's not to say that Dolph Lundgren was not good in the film. He was actually pretty good. He definitely did show some range, but to have the opportunity to really expand on those moments with the character, a lot wasn't there for me to really connect with. As far as Apollo Creed's concerned, you definitely do see more time with him discussing about why he wants to fight Ivan Drago. There's a little more time and more a conversation between himself and Rocky that wasn't there in the previous cut, that is there in this cut, that actually makes more sense, and I actually appreciated understanding more in depth about why he wanted to do what he wanted to take on this fight with Ivan Drago. And then we also see concerns from Adrian where she's really starting to express from the very beginning where, hey, this is not good, don't do this, I have a bad feeling about this. And then of course Apollo doesn't listen, he ends up dying. And then when you see that moment where she's talking to Rocky in that stairwell scene before the no easy way out montage, she tells him you can't win. But that moment leading up to that conversation makes a lot more sense. There's actually a much more impactful there's a more emotional impactfulness that I had watching it this time around that I didn't get as much in the original cut, but I did definitely get in this one. So out of all the things that worked well, that was the one that I took away the most as far as the necessary changes that were made to help understand Adrian's reasoning behind why she was very much against this fight against Ivan Drago. But as far as some of the other scenes are concerned that we get to see in the movie, they were just more or less just like, I hate to say it like this, but more or less like filler. I don't think that's the right word to use, but my vocabulary sucks, so I don't know what other word I can use at this time. So I feel like with what we've got in this movie, it definitely did help expand on certain character beats, but it didn't necessarily help in telling an effective story, because the impact that we got from the original cut was way more effective. And this is a movie that didn't have a lot of character arc, but it was way more effective than we got in this film, at least for me. I'm sure there are going to be some people out there who watch this movie and are going to think, this is fucking fantastic. This is even better than the original one. And I think that's great. I think film is subjective, so of course people are going to think that, and some people may not think that. I'm one of those people who don't think it was like that at all. I really wish that Stallone had just kept a lot of the original footage that we saw in the original cut, kept that the same, and then just added more of these other character moments that we didn't get in the original cut, add that around those old scenes to expand on that, and then see that transition work effectively. Because a lot of things that were taken out before, that were taken out from the original cut that were effective, those new scenes didn't really have that impact, as I mentioned before. In fact, a lot of the editing choices that were made from going from one scene to the other seemed kind of coming out of nowhere. It didn't really have a really smooth transition from one scene to the other. It was almost kind of abrupt in a lot of ways, and I just didn't really care for it all that much. Now, this isn't a film that I'm gonna say I hated. I think it was fine. It wasn't bad. But would I go back and watch it again like I do all the other Rocky films? Probably not. And I probably would go back maybe once in a blue moon just to see if my opinion on the film has changed a little bit and see if my perspective may have changed. But for me personally, it didn't really have much of an effect on me. I don't think it's the worst film I've ever seen. It's not a bad film at all. It was just okay for me personally. So as far as my rating is concerned, I would say this movie is still worth a shot. And those are my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. If you do think that this version of the film is better than the original cut, I would love to hear your opinions on as to why you think that is. And there was a lot that I left about as far as what I did like about the film and what I didn't like about the movie, but I think for me to go in depth with that, I would prefer to have a conversation with someone else to kind of really expand on that, among other things as well too, as far as the series is concerned. So maybe one day we'll have the opportunity to pull that off here, especially when I do the review for the Rocky series, hopefully really soon down the line. But otherwise, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, make sure you share and like our videos, and also hit the notification bell while you're down there. Follow us on our social media accounts on Instagram and Facebook, new release Wednesdays, and on Twitter at the NRW. And you can follow me on my social media accounts on Instagram, Rob_Medina0585, on Twitter, RobMedina0585, and on Facebook, simply just Rob Medina. And I have a show on the channel called You're So Cool with Rob Medina, and also we have a social media accounts for that show as well. On Instagram, You're So Cool with Rob Medina, and on Twitter, You're So Cool WRM. And I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, the good folks over at Bunnies and Cream, which is a nerdy bath and body store where you can nerd out in your own self-care with body sprays, candles, bath bombs, and so much more. And you can use our special promo code where you can get 10% off your order of $20 or more by simply going to the website bunniesandcream.com, where you can enter the code NERDSRULE, all caps, NERDSRULE, at the checkout. And again, a major thank you to the kind folks over at Bunnies and Cream. And also, thank you all very much for joining me here today. I hope you guys did enjoy this review. And until next time, stay safe out there and cheers.